Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a model launched in 2020 in stainless steel. This is the Chopard Alpine Eagle XL chronograph, and it is all of those things. 44 millimeters in diameter in what they call Lucent A223 steel. The watch is 13.3 millimeters thick, 51.6 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. And you can see on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, it is considerably larger than the original Alpine Eagle chronometer, though this is also a chronometer and a chronograph. More on that in a moment. As you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it's approaching the limit of what's possible. We're not quite there, but I would say if your wrist is smaller than 15 centimeters, go with a different chrono or get the standard sized Alpine Eagle chronometer. The watch isn't as thick as I expected, although it looks a bit like a Royal Oak Offshore or a Big Bang on the wrist. It definitely has the kind of wrist presence. It doesn't have the bulk that come with those models, so though it's sheer of side, it's also fairly flat and it will fit underneath the dress cuff. Taking a quick look at the watch, the highlight is the quality of the bracelet. For me, you can see that the faceting everywhere speaks to the attention to detail and the time lavished. Not only do we have satination on the top, polished bevels on the side, vertical satination on the flank compared to longitudinal on the top, but you can see that in between the links there's also beveling. You can see these links fit so seamlessly that there's literally no daylight showing between them as I roll them past our view, and that's because of the way link slots into link. You can also appreciate that because of that construction, every single link in the bracelet is removable, and these bracelet links being relatively short in cross-section, you are going to get a superb fit as a result. Now, it's a high-grade bracelet, which means there's a little bit of a taper out from the lug profile. We have this faceted and polished central spline that adds definition, and then a double folding clasp with twin trigger action. So when closed, it's relatively low profile. It's not a very thick clasp for a sports watch, which makes it a little bit easier to wear. Rolling around to the case, you can see it is as finely finished as the bracelet. This so-called Lucent steel is said to be 50% more resistant to scratching than standard 316L steel is used in the watch industry, and Chopard boasts it is 70% recycled, so save the whales. Taking a quick look on the case flank, we have a compass rose logo on the crown. It is a screw-down crown, and the watch is quite water resistant to over 100 meters. These are tested, and the 100-meter watch pairs up with a flyback chronograph, and it is a flyback chronograph via an in-house caliber. Taking a quick look at the dial and the bezel, it draws directly from the 1980s St. Moritz reference, which was the first sports watch made under the aegis of the Schäufele family that runs Chopard. So we have these basically Royal Oak and Nautilus-inspired design cues, but a dial that sets the watch apart. As with the standard Alpine Eagle, you get a lovely, deeply grained spiral eagle's iris design. That's how they're describing it, an eagle's eye. And it's not a conventional sunburst because you can see it is deeply grooved. It's not a simple satination with a brushed pattern. It does have a pronounced coarse texture to it, which makes it feel very upscale and distinctive. We also have a seconds hand for the chronograph with what is described as an eagle's feather counterweight. We have sub-registers, and if you look carefully, you can actually see that the centers of the registers are set somewhat above the cannon pinion at center, so they are somewhat above the junction of the hands in the middle, which helps the dial to look less crowded. We have a constant seconds display down at 6 o'clock, and in good taste, the date disc is the same color as the dial. Notice the polished chapter rings for the sub-registers, and all applique indices and a St. Moritz-inspired Roman numeral 12. There's a tachymeter scale outboard, which can be used in conjunction with the flyback chronograph to rapidly gauge the speed of objects such as race cars off a kilometer. Carl Friedrich Schäufele, who's the chief of the brand, is both a race car owner and driver, so he would understand. And of course, the watch includes plenty of luminescence to match its durability and water resistance. It's easy to read the time. We have both luminescent indices and then the little cabochon of lume outboard of those for additional legibility. Again, flyback chronograph, reset and restart with a single push of the trigger. Pull the crown out, we have hacking seconds, and we have a quick set system If you wish to cycle the date, it's very easy and rapid. Turning the watch over, in-house caliber. This right here is the caliber 0305C. It is an in-house movement, automatic winding with a 60-hour power reserve, a COSC chronometer certification. It has the quick set, it has the stop seconds, it beats 8 times per second, it pivots on 45 joules. It has the flyback functionality and a combination of vertical clutch and column wheel. So with the column wheel, you get a nice crisp feel to the chronograph operation. Really does have a very sharp tick to it. You can feel the detent, and it feels like money. We also have a vertical clutch, which means the chronograph seconds hand starts without any stagger or jump, unlike a lateral clutch. And if you wish to leave your chronograph running full-time, you can do that with a vertical clutch. There's no additional wear and tear, and it's a high-grade chronograph caliber, which means you have semi-instantaneous jumping minutes when the watch turns over 60 seconds. The finish is workmanlike but clean. I would compare it to similar high horology brands like Jaeger-LeCoultre and Audemars Piguet. You can see that semi-instantaneous jump right there. And if you want to know more, reach out to me, Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.